Morgan here. This week's unit is going to be talking about rice. So rice is a very common prepper food, and so I'm getting down to the very basic details of how to store rice for short-term and long-term periods. So first of all, I highly recommend that if you are going to buy rice from the store and then just use it like this, to put it in some sort of container like this. This one keeps bugs out, but it also keeps it, a little bit more organized instead of just keeping it like in a bag or something like that, in its original bag. Do you need to freeze rice? If you're going to use it right away, then yes. If you want, go ahead and put it in the freezer for a day or two. It really doesn't need to be more than that. If you want to do it for a few days or a week, go ahead. But once they're frozen and they're gone. Okay, that's to prevent bugs from potentially continuing to grow. Okay. Now I will say, if you're planning to take the rice that you just bought from the store and then immediately package it into a mylar bag, then no, you do not need to freeze it. What happens is when you put the rice into the mylar bag and then you put the oxygen absorber into the mylar bag and then you seal it, the oxygen absorber is literally taking the oxygen out of the bag and killing whatever may have been living in there, okay? So you don't need to freeze it if you're planning on immediately taking the bag of rice from the store and then storing it for long-term purposes, okay? The absolute best way to store rice is in a mylar bag. In my experience, vacuum seal bags lose their seal very quickly, and they don't take out as much air as an oxygen absorber. So a mylar bag with one 300 cc oxygen absorber, this is a gallon size bag, with one 300 cc oxygen absorber is what you need to store rice. Now you can also store rice in a big bucket. If you store rice in a 5-gallon bucket, you would use 2,000 cc's of oxygen absorbers. When you buy oxygen absorbers, they'll say what the cc's are in the title, in the description, whatever. Make sure that you're getting enough oxygen absorbers to add up to 2,000 cc's if you're going to use the 5-gallon bucket. You can also simply fill up these mylar bags and then put these mylar bags into the 5-gallon bucket, or also store them into a tote. Even though this is a sealed mylar bag, rats and rodents and other things could still get into it. So I highly recommend that you put whatever mylar bag, food storage that you have, and put it into a locking tote or into a 5-gallon bucket to keep it away from those critters. By storing the rice in the mylar bag, the rice can stay good for up to 30 years. That's right, up to 30 years. That's an amazingly long shelf life. As a quick side note, in order to seal these mylar bags, you can use one of 3 items. You can use a hair straightener and just use it and seal it. Make sure that you are starting from the complete end and sealing all the way to the other side. Be sure to also check to make sure that everything is sealed once you've sealed it. Make sure there are no holes or anything. If there is, go ahead and continue to seal until it looks good. You can also use an iron. You put it down on the iron safe surface. Use an iron and then just softly iron it down. You can also use a vacuum sealer on the seal function, just on the straight sealer function. That's just a few ways that you can seal a mylar bag, but get creative. There's lots of ways to seal it. Just make sure that it's something that's hot enough to seal the mylar bag and to seal it properly. In order for rice to last the 30 years, it needs to remain sealed and properly sealed. When you're considering storing rice, I highly recommend storing white rice for long-term storage. You can store brown rice for short-term storage. I would say up to maybe 5 years, but really if you want to be ultra safe about it, I would say only store brown rice for 1 or 2 years, simply because brown rice has a lot more oils than white rice. So brown rice will go rancid a lot quicker than white rice will. So for long-term storage, store white rice. And then you can store brown rice for shorter periods of time. You can also store instant white rice for as long as you can regular white rice. It's ideal to store rice below 70 degrees. However, if it needs to be stored in a little bit hotter temps, just realize that it may reduce the flavor and quality of the rice. But also understand that it does need to be kept out of direct sunlight. Food in general always needs to be kept out of direct sunlight. So keep it in that tote or keep it in that 5-gallon bucket. It's not only good for pests, but it's good to keep it out of the direct sunlight. I have a new unit coming out that goes back to basics, on the very basics on how to do something preparedness related. So come back every week and be sure to check out the Preparedness Unit playlist down below. Thank you all so much for watching. Conquer tomorrow by preparing today. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.